Hey, real estate rock stars, welcome to the whole enchilada of real estate investing, the only podcast that serves up the full feast of street smart strategies to build wealth and take control of your financial future. I'm Lou Brown, and I've been in the real estate game since 1976, so I've learned how to make the whole plate worth it. Each week, I'll be dishing out creative financing hacks and proven systems that help investors build multimillion-dollar businesses. No fluff, just the good stuff, straight from the source. Ready to dig in and start making deals? Let's get to it. So welcome everyone to another edition of the whole enchilada of real estate investing. And we are here today with Jesse Trujillo. And I am so excited to welcome you aboard today because, oh my gosh, have you got a great background, amazing experience, and you have developed what I think a lot of people are going to learn from and say, aha, I want to be like him. I want to know what this guy knows. I want to do what this guy does because he's definitely accomplished a lot in his career. So let's get started by you telling us a bit about yourself, where you're located, your family, and what type of real estate that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Lou, for having me on here. I'm Jesse Trujillo from San Diego, California, born and raised. Done about 1,000 flips since then. We're in San Diego, San Antonio, Tampa, Jacksonville, and we were in the past in Nashville as well. And then we've got into single family rentals, about 200 of them, and plus another 900 apartment units throughout the country in Sunbelt states. So total of 1,100 rental units. So we've just really been focusing on growing the flips, single family rentals, and apartments.
Wow, that's a big portfolio, my friend. And it's not in your own backyard. It's all over the country. And definitely you've got the distinctions of the various laws in various states and various markets in various states that you've had to navigate and learn. And you've learned a formula. And as a result of that formula, you've been able to expand your business. Now, tell us a little bit about your family, and then we'll jump into that.
Yeah, beautiful wife, and we got two amazing kids, a 15-year-old son, a 17-year-old daughter, and they're following the footsteps. Typical high school kids, teenagers, enjoying life, playing sports, enjoying their friends. But also they've been growing up in my flipping world and seeing what dad does and going to properties with me. And they've recently even just been featured on a show that's coming out this year called Kids Who Flip. They're actually 2 of the 5 kids on the show where they're flipping their own house.
I love that. I love that. We do need to teach the next generation. I love it when my licensees bring their kids to the class. They often do. And we've taught the next generation. And now, literally, in my world, we've got people that learned everything of what we do and how we do it, built their own beautiful portfolios. And now their children are building their own portfolios. So I get a big kick out of that when we can get the kids involved for sure. All right, now this concept of big deal-itis, man, you are in so many different things. First of all, single family homes. It's no joke to have 200 single family homes, but on top of that, you've got 900 multifamily units as well. That's incredible. But on top of that, you're in what, 6 markets?
We just brought it down to 3, really focused in for flipping into San Diego, San Antonio, and Tampa at the moment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I know that's San Antonio market particularly well because we do have some really strong licensees there. And Tampa, oh my goodness, yes, that's a great market for us and all over Florida and California as well, because we do have successful folks right there in your backyard in San Diego. So it's just fantastic that it can be done all over the country. And I think that's the first inspiration for you guys to take away is the fact that, hey, you can do this business anywhere. And it boils down to one thing. It's called housing. People need a place to live. And if you can be the provider of that housing and you can do it in such a way that there's something in it for the other guy, man, that's the keys to the kingdom right there. So tell us what your formula is, Jesse.
I love being diversified. I think we started we wanted to do something where we could bring in investors to like really join us and have an option. There's a lot of people that are out there would love to flip, and I condone it. Like, let's go do it. Go try it out. But that's active, right? Some people have their W-2 jobs and they need to do something else. So invest passively. So for us, we started Ajax Capital over the last year, where literally we just take in accredited investors and they join us and they're letting us do the work, right? They're investing passively, but they're building wealth, right? They're investing with us, they're making money on their money. And I think it's so important for people to understand about investing, whether they invest with us. So people like stocks, and everyone has their thing. But for me, I love real estate. Exactly what you said, Lou, a little while ago. You said people need a place to live. That's never going to go away. They will always need a place. So for me, that lets me sleep at night, not only in my own investments, but people's investors' money, to know that I'm investing in things that people will always need. Doesn't matter if the market's high, low, interest rates high, low, it doesn't matter. People always need a place to live. So that's really our main focus of knowing flips helps us make active income, and we use that active income to go buy these passive income properties, whether single family rentals or apartments, and then also now bringing in investors with the fund. Now we can go actually go buy larger assets. So it's an exciting time, because I get excited even just talking about it, just because it's such an amazing thing to do. Yes, it's about building wealth and about making money, but we're giving back, right? We're fixing up. Because I was a flipper first, I love going into these rentals and apartments and making sure that they're clean, making sure they're nice. They're not brand new, right? Because you're fixing up an old home, fixing up an old apartment, but they're clean and they're health and safety wise. A nice family can live in there and feel comfortable to know that's where they want to be. They enjoy being there. They're not living in a horrible place with horrible landlords. It's, I think, changing that mind frame too is exciting for me, and knowing that we're doing something right for other people.
I love that, man. And definitely with the right mindset that you're of service and in service for the people that are moving in. As long as you keep that in mind, there's so much more and so much more value. One of the things I can share with you is, having been a landlord now for over 40 years, buying, holding, and selling properties, one of the things I learned is that we've got a customer. We got a
Yeah.
customer. And this customer buys things. So who are we? We are providers, not only of housing, but of many other things that we can provide as well. So what we developed is 25 different profit centers over and above the typical landlord profit. So in other words, the typical landlord profit is the difference between the debt service and what you rent it for, right? And that's a profit. And now above that, though, there's 25 more services that we provide to the clients that move into our property. We call them clients, and they move into a property and we serve them, and we're able to get a piece of all of that as well. So we call it bits and pieces and hunks and chunks.
Yeah.
And
Love that.
the paydays are amazing on that, and you can add thousands of dollars to the bottom line on each and every unit just by adding that. So that's something I'll share with you and let you know that it's one of the powerful things that you can add on with being a housing provider.
Great.
Yeah, and so much beauty. So when you are putting together a deal, you're out there, you're beating the bushes, you've got this great capital that you brought in from investors that want to sit in the rocking chair, let you do all the work. They just want to clip the coupons. They just want to get that income from the property, but you know what you're doing. So what kind of return are you looking for when you're putting together a deal?
It varies, right? Because flips are one thing, and then also the market, right? I wish it was one thing all the way across, and it's not. Like, usually, like, our investors make between 7% and 18 on average. It just depends on what they're investing in, what areas. Are they investing on a quick flip? Are they investing in a long-term apartment? And again, one of the three main buckets for our investors is, some like cash flow. Some have old 401ks. We help them make them into self-directed IRAs, where they just want to build wealth. And then we have another bucket of investors that they need tax write-offs, right? We have a lot of doctors and dentists that work with us, and they need that's active income they need write-offs for. So they like investing with us on our apartments, because we can offer them some tax benefits that lets them write off some of this active income, which in turn is them not only are they making money in interest with us, but now they're making more money because they're saving money in taxes as well. So it's providing those three has been an exciting part for that. But for us, when we're looking for these flips, It varies, right? I mean, every deal, I always tell my team, it's every deal is different and every deal we have to look separately. Is it something we're going to get in and out of very quick? Something where the rehab's going to be, it's a bigger rehab, we're going to take an extra month to do, a little more risky, maybe we're going to have a little more spread. It always, doing volume for us has been an exciting thing that you can know to pick and choose each deal. Don't get me wrong, I'm getting older, right? And so I laugh and I like the easier things now, right? I used to go and buy the craziest ones, craziest flips. Those days are gone for me. And I'm saying that humbly because we've worked our way up to that point and we've learned so much from that. And not that we wouldn't take on something, but if we did, it's about knowing when to take that risk. And if you are, how much spread you need. Because don't, it's every deal is so different that you want to make sure you protect yourself, protect your investors in what you're doing. This is a different market now. Before, the market was going up and you could mess up and do something here and there and the market saves you because your values were going up. Those days for me right now are gone. If it does go up, it's a bonus for us. We treat every deal as though whatever price is today, because it's been leveling off for us in most of our markets, that's the number we plan to sell it at. And if we sell above that, great. There's no more of those days where, oh, I'm going to buy it here, and by the time I sell it, it's going to be worth here. No, we can't think like that. And it's being very cautious. I'd rather pass on 100 deals and buy one. You know what I mean? And it's not, we've done over sometimes 100, 200 flips a year. But for me, that's not important. I'd rather do 50 flips a year, good deals, than 100 or 200 deals that I'm just rolling the dice on, crossing my fingers and stuff. So I think it's so important for people to understand, be very selective. You make your money on the purchase, and as crazy as that sounds, it really is, because you got to make sure you do your due diligence, you do your homework, you check that market, you know what you could truly probably sell it for. Is it a good area? Because if you buy wrong, once you're in it, you're stuck in it, and there's no way out until you finish flipping it, selling it, or hopefully you never foreclose on it. But that's my point. You want to make sure you avoid all those. Everything is up front. You got to make sure once you buy, there's a long process after that, making sure everything goes well. But if you buy wrong, that's the first stop that you got to make sure that you're buying correct from day one.
Amen, man. I will go and underscore that big time. I love in our business to convert people from wholesaling to long-term holds because they have no idea how much money they're leaving on the table from the long-term perspective, especially with our model of the path to home ownership that we're giving to our clients that are moving into the property. Even people that are living in apartments are also in the same position because we are putting them on the path to home ownership as well and growing them up and helping them. So the concept is that we're actually working with those clients, but we're also getting money from them. So we're getting additional cash flow from helping them towards their goal of home ownership. And we've got a better mindset client as well. Somebody that's not thinking like a renter, they're thinking like an owner. And really, from a long-term perspective, that's what we want to do. I laugh because a lot of properties that we buy right now today are from wholesalers.
Yeah,
I love wholesalers. I think
me
they're
too.
awesome. They bring me fantastic deals. And I go, set some time aside. Come to my class. Let me show you what I'm doing with these deals that you're giving to me, like on a silver platter, that I'm able to make so much money on, so much more money on, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars more just because they just handed it to me. But I'm going to do my thing with it rather than their thing. So definitely wholesaling is something that is near and dear to my heart in terms of working with wholesalers, also converting wholesalers to the long-term perspective of what can happen. So I love what you're doing there. And definitely, so when someone joins your fund, then they can choose, do they want to do in the short-term perspective or the longer-term perspective? So you've really got three categories that they can choose. Is that correct?
That's correct. And that was the easiest. I got excited because it's an evergreen fund where it's literally just one PPM. So one big document that they read and sign from day one. And after that, they literally go into our portal and they can pick and choose. Do you want to flip in San Diego? Do you want a rental in Jacksonville? Do you want an apartment we're buying in, like right now, we're buying one in, sorry, St. Pete, Florida. So it's nice that they can pick and choose and or diversify their investments and do all three. I've loved to see, I've worked with so many investors over the years, and it's nice to see them excited to know, hey, Jesse, I just want to try it out with you on a flip. And then after a flip, they might go into a rental. And then, hey, Jesse, now, you give my money back too fast on a flip. Look, I just want to go 5 years on this apartment. I just want to be getting constant money back, right? When we're paying back quarterly and stuff. So it's just so nice to see everyone's has a peace of mind of how they like seeing their money. I have an investor known for years, and I love him to death. He used to be on a TV anchor here in San Diego and across in New York and different places, and we met. And I remember the first day he met me, he lent us 20,000 and invested in one of our flips. He would go to that flip almost every day and double check and see what everything.
Oh
And I
no.
loved it. I understood him. He was worried. He didn't know me, right? So he wanted to double check. And I look back now and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that. And I remember the contractors would call me like, hey, there's a guy at the house. What do I do? Do I kick him out? I'm like, no, he's just the investor. I could tell you then that was 20,000 he lent then. He started going less and less of these properties because he would pay them back every time. And now he has like close to $1 million with us, never goes to the properties. He likes the long-term stuff because we've built that trust with him. He's understood how we work. He knows who we are. He feels comfortable with us, and it's a win-win. He's making money from us, and we're obviously using that to grow our business as well. So I love stories like that. It helps him. He's not working anymore. He's retired, and he's pretty much living off his passive income from us. And that's great. I love hearing that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I learned that lesson early on when the same thing happened to me. I said, you know what? I'm never giving them the address again. I'm never telling them what because they're actually literally going to bed at night thinking about what is going to happen if I end
Right.
up with this property. And I
Mhm.
said, nope, not going to do that
Yeah,
anymore. And it worked out perfectly to
right.
actually just tell them, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is how we operate. This is how we can help. This is how we different than everybody else,
Yep.
and this is how we can help you. And when I laid the thing out the right way, oh, everything changed. So it's brilliant that you're raising money this way. It's brilliant that you're expanding because you're using your background and your skills and your knowledge to actually be able to do a lot more volume. Now, give us a quick, like your favorite technique to buy a property.
I'll go with, let's say, multifamily. For us, multifamily, there's so much due diligence to be done up front, way more than a flip, right? It's a great asset. I love it because one, it's a great long-term wealth builder. Two, it could be quite profitable, especially if you decide to exit and it hits the numbers you want. Again, a longer time frame from a quick 3 to 6 month flip to potentially a 5 or 7 year exit on an apartment. But what I love about that is, like, especially recently with the interest rates and everything that's changed, like my team, I've trained them. We underwrite so many deals, and I love hearing, actually, believe it or not, that we passed on deals. And the reason I love hearing that, it sounds right, it sounds opposite. Why would you like that? I love it because that means my team did their due diligence and found the reason why it doesn't work. Instead of saying making it work, because a lot of people will sometimes get excited about a property and get emotional and they will buy it. And they'll tweak the numbers to say, oh, you know what, I could probably get another $50 from that rent. And no, I actually love hearing that we passed on so many. Like this one deal, again, we buy big deals, we buy small deals. It's 11 unit right now in St. Pete. It cash flows from day one. But I mean, we probably went over 150 deals to find that one little deal. And as long as that sounds, I'd rather know that I could tell my investors, guess what? We passed on these 150 because this is the one that we like and we feel great about in this market. So those actually excite me. Like we just got another 20 unit accepted last week in Georgia, and it's next to a 50 unit that we have. And that one took, again, that one probably another 3 to 4 months before we bought that one. And I was looking for very long time, going through many offers. But that one, same thing. It's going to cash flow from day one. It's a great deal, still some value add to it. And it's just, those excite me to know when you could buy things that I can sleep at night to know that I'm protecting my investors' money and doing my as best as I can. Everything's a risk, right? And you investors always a risk in anything you do. But if I can minimize that as much as I can, that is exciting to me. And to know that we find those deals that took us so long to get there because now that's the one that actually makes sense for us. And we have a great chance of exiting and what we promised to our investors, hitting those numbers, if not more. So those get me excited. I love the
Yeah.
flips.
Well, that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
cash flow from day one. That's
Yeah,
duh, but yet not duh, because a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to make it on the backside. I'm going to go do the rehab and then I'm going to make money. And then they don't really realize what the market is and that the market can change.
right.
So all that time that they're doing the fix up, then the market could absolutely, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. You get the wrong people in there, the whole 9 yards. Oh, I know multifamily. And I know he can go good or go bad. Where in Georgia did you get that?
Columbus.
Columbus. I know Columbus.
Yeah,
Excellent. That's great. We're in the Atlanta area.
yeah,
So
great.
definitely that's Georgia's a great place.
Yeah,
And there's so many markets all over the country. It's really
so
not,
many.
it's just a plentiful, bountiful, wonderful thing. So
I tell people you just got to do your due diligence. Look at these markets, really do your market analysis and make sure there's so many great markets out there, probably closer than you think, right? And then, or maybe you're thinking, oh, I got to go over there where everyone's there. Do your homework. There might be even something close by that makes complete sense. I can't stress enough the due diligence, not only on the actual deal, but the market, right? I mean, we go into these markets and we don't look at, is Tesla there? Is it just Amazon? Is it just one? Because if it's just one, if Amazon goes away and if that was their main source of employment, you got to have several things in the market, right?
yeah.
Several things going on. If you hear the markets that I flip in, I smile because I'm born and raised in San Diego, so I'm a little biased, right? That we're a military town. I love knowing that there's military town because these big military towns, there's a big chance that they're not going to go anywhere, right? San Diego is such a huge military town. There's always people coming to live because of the military in and out. And they're buying their houses, their first time home buyers. And I don't know if I mentioned all of our flips, we don't do multi-million-dollar homes. I focus on entry level pockets. And I do that strategically on purpose because you have more buyers in that realm. They're not as picky. They're people that really, I remember being my first home. You're just so excited that you got approved for a loan. Yes, and we're providing a flip that's nice, clean, health and safety, but they won't walk away because they didn't like the flooring. They won't walk away because they didn't like their one little thing was wrong in the kitchen. These are people that, wow, I can afford this. We can make the payment. This is now for me and my family. I love turning in those homes. Those excite me as well. And that's what we really focus on. San Antonio's a military town, Tampa's military. And if you hear, obviously, it just happens to be that in Columbus, Georgia, there's a big base there as well. So it's just I love having those options that we are strategically buying in areas where we know there's different types of businesses, not only businesses in general, but the military. So you have a little best of both overall.
I tell you, one of the things you're going to love is our Path to Home Ownership program. So we can help others, even if they can't qualify for a brand new loan today. We help them build up till they eventually can. And that's one of the exit strategies on the properties that we buy
That's
is that we
great.
can actually sell that property for above market. We can sell it 10 to 20% above cash market. And it works out fantastic. So definitely that's something that at entry levels that really does help greatly when you're working with folks and giving them a path to be able to follow when they move into the property as a rental.
Yeah.
Congratulations with that. That's a great one. Now give us your best management tip.
Best management tip. So we have an asset manager on our team that oversees all the property managers that are on all of our properties. The best management tip is accountability. And I can tell you if there's property managers that don't like it and don't like that you're asking them for information and really, then that's not the property manager you want to have. They need to be as open as you want them to be. Again, there's a certain limit. There's certain very strategic things that you need to have for you to know that they're working on your property. If you pass on your property to a property manager and you're not doing your checks on did they rent it, which ones are vacant, that's shame on you, right? So I think that is in my aspect, you have to make sure you or someone on your team is checking up on these things. Have a checklist, put calendar things. I'm checking every week or every month on this, and I need to double check and ask them. So holding your property managers accountable is so huge because I think that's where people go wrong and they just close their eyes and just expect the check. But what if that check could have been bigger because they didn't rent out the property? What if that check could have been bigger because they keep replacing all these ACs that maybe they didn't need to? Maybe it could have just been fixed instead of replaced. So it's about really making sure that you're not just, it is about building wealth and passively, but you have to have treat it, it's your,
Oversight.
exactly, it's your money. And it's your money. No one cares more about your money than you. So I just want to say, like, meaning you should have some, don't, it's trust but verify. It's so important. Like you just have to just make sure it's good that you find a good property manager, but just verify. It's just a little extra step that I think some people miss a lot of the time.
Well, we're big on checklists in our system, and definitely I've got a whole property management
Yeah.
system that we teach this and teach people how to become property managers as well as manage their own properties. And you are 100% correct that you do have to checklist things and you do have to make sure that certain things are done correctly, including the paperwork. The paperwork is absolutely critical, and often people they really don't want to do the paperwork because they hate the paperwork, so they just
Yep.
skip that part. And they don't realize that's their saving grace many times if there's an issue down the road. One more thing that I wanted to get to, and wow, you've been such an inspiration and a lot of great information, no doubt about it. And I think a lot of people are going to appreciate what you've shared with them today and advancing their careers, and also really thinking about another avenue that perhaps investing in a fund is another avenue that might make more sense for some people based on what their situation is and what they're trying to accomplish in their business. And one of the things that you were honorable and respectful to share with me was to let me know that, hey, life has challenges, life has issues, and a lot of people can really benefit from hearing what your story is and what you've been through in your journey. One of the things I share with my clients is we are beings in bodies on a journey. And each one of us are here to learn certain lessons. That's why we're on this planet. That's why we're in this body at this time. And we are presented things that sometimes are big challenges that could take somebody completely down and out. And other people just face up to those challenges. You shared a challenge with me that was pretty profound.
Yeah. I just feel like I'll share it with everyone. Just pretty much, I was telling Lou where it's several years ago, and I'm talking this back in 2012. I had a knock on my door, and it was a sheriff with the badge on my door in the morning, and opened up the door, and I thought, oh, something had happened at the park in front of our house. And he goes, Jesse Trujillo, and I said, yes. And I said, oh, I didn't think twice. I was like, oh, he just said my name. And sure enough, he says, Jesse, you got to come with us. And they put me in handcuffs, took me downtown without really knowing what was going on. I asked him what's going on. I said, that's a sealed indictment. I didn't find out. I called an attorney friend that I've known since grade school and done very well for himself here in San Diego. He jumped on it and finally found out, hey, Jesse, they arrested you because two houses that you had sold back in 2008 were involved in fraud. And where I was flabbergasted, pretty much, I was like, wait a minute, those are things I sold to just a traditional sale. How am I involved in this? What I didn't find out till then is the lender, a lender, someone I knew back in the day, he had came to me and he knew I had two properties for sale back then. And he said, Jesse, I got a buyer for them. I'm going to do their property management. I'm going to rent them out and I'm going to be their landlord. And I said, and he's like, okay, I would like to buy those. And I was like, and I was ecstatic. I was like, great. These are properties. We're not even really making profit at that point. It was just like letting, moving them, selling them and moving on because the market was at a tough time. The values had gone down. So I said, sure, no problem. And then, so we're in escrow and he's like, Jesse, since I'm going to be go ahead and renting these out, I'd love to get them rented before. So by the time we close, they could start cash flowing. And I said, sure, I'm a go-getter, right? And I'm like, oh, sure, thank you very much. And no problem. I'll help you guys out. Rented them, put everything in their name, nothing in my name, did all the contracts in there, found new tenants, and I didn't think anything of it. Again, 4 years later, they're knocking on my door because these guys they were buying these properties in different counties here in California with stolen identities. And what actually they were doing is buying them, renting them out, keeping the rents, not paying the mortgages, and just keeping the money, which it was ridiculous, right? You look back now, it was a dumb idea for them, but they were doing it. So what happened was, well, after everything, the houses foreclosed and went to knock on the doors for the tenants. They asked the tenants, who rented these to you? And they said, Jesse Trujillo. So that's how I got involved in this because they assumed I was part of that little mastermind thing that they were doing in the different counties, which I wasn't. So when I told my attorney, I said, hey, this is what's going on. Once I told him the story, he says, don't worry about it, Jesse. You just keep working. We're going to get this cleared up. We'll prove your innocence, no problem. A year passes on, calls me to his office on Thanksgiving Day, and he says, I need you to come down here right now. Go into his office, and he's there, and he's, Jesse, they want to bring in your cousins, which my cousins, we had bought those two properties together, so they were on title with me. And they were like, after everything I had just been through for the last year and the emotional ups and downs of all that, I said, no, why would they want to bring him in? He says, Jesse, don't worry, just sign this document and they won't bring in your cousins and I'll still prove your innocence and don't worry about it. So I said, okay, where do I sign? So he pretty much made me sign. What I didn't find out till later, when we're actually going there to the arraignment, here we are thinking we're gonna go have with all my family and stuff, happy to get this behind us after 2 years of fighting it and thinking, oh, we're just gonna go have some dinner after. Well, I'm in there and the judge is looking at my paperwork, looking up, looking down. And it was an awkward situation in the court where you could tell the judge was looking at me very weird. And the judge goes, Jesse, are you sure you want to do this? And I took a step back. I looked at my attorney and he nodded his head. I said, yes, Your Honor. And he says, bailiff, take him away for 5 years. And it just caught us completely offhand. I hadn't said goodbye to my kids. I hadn't said goodbye to my parents. I hadn't got my business in order. And here I go. And they took me away at that moment. I feel like what just happened. What we ended up finding out is the attorney that I hired, again, that I trusted as well, someone supposedly that I knew, he was money laundering for the Mexican mafia, millions and millions of dollars during that whole time while he was supposed to be working on my case. So he never presented any evidence to show I was innocent. He never did anything. What I ended up signing, we feel that he actually just had tricked me into signing it so I could just keep paying him because I was paying him a very high price to represent me. And he didn't care about what was going to happen to me. So here I am in prison. I ended up, a lot of things happened. Sad, I lost my mother to Lou Gehrig's disease in there. So many things emotionally going on. And again, this is where adversity is, right? You trust people, and sadly, here you are thinking you're trusting the right people, and it ends up they don't have the best interests of you, right? So I'm in there. I asked my wife just to focus, send me all the documents of the case. Thousands of paper. I'm going through it. While I'm in there, I find a document that no one had ever shown me, including my attorney, from the mortgage company from those two properties. Well, what no one verified is that these properties were resold, right? So these mortgage made some money back. Nobody ever verified how much. So when they got the amount of the loss from the mortgage, it was just the amount of the mortgage. It was a clerical error that I found that it was saying over $700,000 they lost, and it ended up being wrong, and ended up being closer to $30,000 to $40,000 of a loss, where it should have never have been a prison sentence. It should have been probably never even gone to jail. Never, like it was one clerical error by this mortgage company that the DAs nor my attorneys ever bothered to check. And here I am trying to fight it. But by then, my attorneys were saying, by the time we even start this, you're already going to be out. It's not worth spending the money. And I was so angry, right? I came out. I'm a chubby guy, right? And I love eating my tacos and burritos. And I came out there with the hunger for a carne asada burrito. And I ate a couple, but I tell you, I got out, had my carne asada burrito, kissed my wife, hugged my kids, and I got straight to work. And I said, doesn't matter. This 2016, I said, I'm all about being persistent and not gonna let any of these things, as much adversity as you're going through, cannot let that get you down. There was a quote I heard, Lou, from Frank Sinatra. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I had heard it almost like right after I came out, and I heard it, I think, on a YouTube or somewhere. And he says, the greatest revenge is massive success.
Amen.
And I loved it. And I said, because I know revenge, I was mad at the world. I was mad at those lenders. I was mad at the attorney. I was mad at the court system. I was mad at everything. But I know that revenge is not good for the heart or the soul. So I said, I love that quote. And I said, I can run with that. And that's how I'm going to get my revenge, to get back on top. No one was going to stop me from getting back to my business or where I was at. And so again, took 5 years. I worked hard. And I got us from $0 in the bank to a $15 million net worth within 5 years in 2021.
Baby. Yes.
And I share that story not to show off, but I share that story because it's humbling. I tell people I was going through some of the darkest times in my life. I was so angry at everything, and I didn't let that. I turned what I call pain into profit, right? I really pushed it, and I made that pain, and I made it go, that's going to help me go and work harder to get where I want to be. I'm going to show my kids that it doesn't matter when people are bringing you down, that you can still keep pushing forward and get to where we're at. And that for me is something that I'm starting to share on stage. Want to show people that I don't, you could be going through some adversities in life, big or small right now, but whatever that is, you just got to never give up and keep pushing through and keep going for your goals. Don't let anything stop you and just keep pushing. It's not an easy road. So I'm not going to make it sound like it was an easy thing. I got some gray hairs now for sure, but it was definitely worth it. It's definitely worth pushing through, and it's money comes and goes, but I could tell you it's about making yourself happy, and happiness is what makes you rich.
Well, tell you that I have so much respect and congratulations on getting through that huge challenge in your life, no doubt about it. And it also underscores what I've learned over the years, that the system is not what we think the system is. And I've watched it happen over and over again to very honorable people, that the system has jerked them around, tricked them, and taken advantage of them. And that's why when I hear someone that has gone through something like yourself, I always want to know the rest of the story, because often it's not what the courts said it was at the time. And definitely, we also know that the attorneys that represent you are actually officers of the court. They are actually under the judge, and they really do mislead their clients a lot of times. It's like bringing the lambs to the slaughter. It's highly respectful of you to have gone through, or shared rather, what you have shared, and I really do appreciate that, and definitely gives some insight to that other side of the story. I think President Trump has adopted the same concept of, hey, the sweetest revenge is success, and being attacked by the lawfare and the system, and just coming back fighting and saying, hey, whatever that was, but in the meantime, let's go make something happen, is a great attitude for everyone to take away from today's podcast. And Jesse, you're awesome. And for people to find out more about you and what you do, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I make it very easy. We created investwithjesse.com. If people would love to go there, feel free. You can even set up a quick Zoom with me and my team. You want to go over what investments we have available. If you have questions, I know I love talking to people, and it's just something there we like to have open for people. Again, a little bit less, the last part of my story was it's not giving up, right? Even here, 11 years later, which was 2 years ago, I went back and I still fought. I found that letter again. We went back to court and we finally won, right? We went into court. We went in, and the judge looked at the DA and said, "How dare you guys? This is crazy. Why, I can't believe that you guys made him go through that with this clerical error and stuff." So I share that because it's nice to know that you keep pushing, you don't give up. And it was 11 years. I could have just said, forget it. But no, I kept going. And again, we're still fighting things, and we're still there's still things to clean up after that. But it was a big win 2 years ago that finally I can show people that a court, not only a judge, said they were wrong and this should have never happened. And so it's just keep pushing forward, right, is the biggest thing. And again, investwithjesse.com. Love for people, just feel free to look me up, look up our fund, and if you have any questions on it, we do a monthly webinar to help our investors and stuff with any questions. So love for anyone to join.
Well, congratulations, man. And definitely we need to get on the agenda to teach you about trusts.
Let's do it.
Because trusts are going to set you free and definitely give you some tax benefits that you currently are not enjoying in what you're doing right now, that are hidden from view. It's the best level of protection that exists on the planet that almost no one knows anything about. And it's right out there in the open, in the legal field, that anybody can take advantage of, but it's hidden from view. So I'll expose you to it and give you some insight that you can bring to your world as well.
That'd be great.
Awesome, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you have. And man, good luck, good health, and may God bless. Have a great day.
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks for tuning in to the whole enchilada of real estate investing. I hope you're feeling ready to take your investing game to the next level. If you're serious about building wealth, you won't want to miss the Millionaire Jumpstart. It's a 3-day live event that's perfect for any level of investor. Whether you're just getting started or you're looking to scale, this can be one of the final steps of making real wealth happen. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now at millionairejumpstart.com and get ready to make big moves in your real estate journey. I'm Lou Brown. Until next time, keep hustling, and remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how smart you play the game.